Hello, in this video we are going to discuss how to convert a supplier into a subcontractor on the Construction Manager software. First thing I need to do is click on the suppliers module to open that up. This will then give us a list of all of the suppliers which have been pulled through from Sage that you already have existing and set up within that software. As you can see from the list, some are highlighted in red. This is to do with the insurance details, which we can cover at a later date. To open up a supplier record, we can either highlight it and click on record, or we can double click on the supplier's information there. This will then load up the record, similar to how it will display in Sage. It will give us the trading name and account number or account reference for that supplier. The CIS name here may differ from the trading name if somebody has been set up in a certain way. They may not always match, which is something to consider for verifying a supplier. The tab we're most concerned with is the online verification tab. On here we will need to fill in a few of these boxes dependent upon the nature of this supplier. So the company registration number is the most commonly one used, but it can sometimes be the national insurance number if this person is a sole trader rather than a registered company. On occasion, if they are registered as a partnership, it will be this box here that we will need to fill in. So generally we will be filling in the company registration number, the UTR. If we know the verification number, if this supplier has already been, or subcontractor say, has already been verified as part of the CIS scheme, we can put the verification number in here, the date that they were verified to match against that verification number, and then the tax treatment to whether or not they're unmatched at 30% gross, net, or none. In this case, if all that information is filled in, we can then click on save, and then that supplier will then be added into the subcontractor list here. There is the option, if you have somebody that you want to process through the subcontractor module but are not part of the CIS scheme, which is often a common occurrence for people that fit things such as alarms, blinds or curtains or things like that, that they are not part of the CIS scheme because they're not constructing anything, but you may still wish to use the functionality that is available with this software within the subcontractor module to be able to process them. This can obviously be discussed in more detail in the remainder of your training, but that is an option if you wanted to be able to do that. There is also the option, if this supplier had not been verified through the online portal through HMRC yet, as long as you've gone through the settings and filled in the gateway username and password to be able to communicate with HMRC, you will be able to fill in the information, not put the verification number or the date that's been verified in, and click on verify match. This will then bring up another screen for you and we'll go through a process of trying to match that supplier or that subcontractor with the details that they've already got on the system for you. Once they've appeared on this subcontractor list, if I double click within here, for example, open David Williams' details, as we can see the online verification, some of the information has been filled in. We've also from here able to see that the UTR number has been filled in, tax treatment has been filled in. We also have the insurance expiry, and is why these are being highlighted red at this moment in time, because their insurance has expired. There's a setting on the system that will allow you to only be able to process documentation against a subcontractor who has insurance that is valid at that time. The options that we've got through this subcontractor area is being able to raise subcontractor applications and then certify those applications to turn them into a payment certificate. We have a worksheets module which allows you to process the subcontractor against various jobs in one go. So if a subcontractor works on 2 or 3 jobs over the course of a week or month, depending on how they process or how they send applications or invoices or requests for payment to you. There's also the option to raise subcontractor purchase orders, so you can then say that a subcontractor has got a set figure of to be able to be worked to, and to allow you to control the amount that you actually allow that subcontractor to work on for that project or for that job. These options, as previously mentioned, may be something that you want to explore using for subcontractors that aren't part of the CIS scheme. So as mentioned, it would just be a case of setting their tax treatment to none, and they will then appear within this list for you to be able to use them.